Kind of makes it easier if you stand to the side and do it like this. Rose, are we happy with that? Rose? There. Rose, there? No, we're not happy with that. No, we're not. Ah, yes, exactly. So let's wipe that away. Let's get rid of that. So, yeah. So, there you go. Should be better now. So, if you don't know that one, don't do that one. Do a different one. If you know a different one. If you know this one, you can do this one. Oh, should have done that. Anne's already there. Because Anne's on this one here. Alright, does anyone want to help her? No? Alright, okay, alright, fine. So who's here? Not Monica, Monia. So Monia and John. We don't have much room on the board, but yeah, John and Monia. Okay, cool. And I think you had this one over here, so do you want to do that one over there? Yeah, cool. Maybe you want to write it underneath. Okay. That's what we get it up there. That's cool. Thanks. Oh, get the pen. Yeah, cool. Get the pen somewhere else. Yeah, they're kind of here. We don't have a lot of space, but maybe what we'll do is we'll put Betty kind of here like that, and maybe we'll move Betty like that. All right, okay, cool. And the last ones we'll do together. Okay, so we have here we have
Paolo and Rose.
Okay, so Paolo and Rose are married. Uldrid's still married. So Paolo and Rose, yeah. And in the middle we have Chris is the youngest, yes, so Chris is alone, which is very sad. And here we have Jack and Margie. Yeah, good. Cool. So there you go. Nice, well done. Very good. Now, some information about, for example, kind of me and my family. And I hope you can read this. Now, here's my past. Here's some things about my past. Here's some things about my present. And here's possibly some things about my future, possibly, which I hope you can read. This is supposed to say kids, but the board, as you can see, is not doing very well. And this is supposed to say married ? All right. So let's start with the past. You can ask me some questions about my past. What would you like to know?
Sorry, where are you from?
Where am I from? Well, that's not on the board, but I'm from London. Okay. Yes. Any questions about my past then?
Where are your parents from?
Oh, where are my parents from? Oh, my parents are a totally different question. But they're not from here. No, this is different.
Ukraine? What did you do in Ukraine?
Ah, no, that is a good question. That is a good question. For example, yeah, I lived there for 2 years. I lived there and I taught English there for 2 years, but that was nearly 10 years ago.
Who is Christina?
Interesting question. She was a girlfriend a long time ago. She was a girlfriend who I had a very, very nice relationship with, and unfortunately, we met in a different country. So we didn't meet in our own countries, and she had to go back to her country to study, and I had to go back to my country to work. So unfortunately, we kind of said goodbye. It was really nice and so on. So it was, yeah, she's someone I still remember very fondly, shall we say. Yep. Yeah, any more?
What happened in 1980?
1980 was a very, very bad year. It was a very bad year because until 1980, I was the most important person on the planet. I was number one. I was the most important person. But then, in 1980, my sister was born. And that meant so it was a really bad, thanks for laughing. It was a really bad year. All right, moving on. Let's come to the present. Any questions about the present?
Do you have a cat?
I do have a cat, and do you know what?
Its name is Cat.
My cat's name is Cat. Yes, which I think is a very good name for a cat. Perhaps a better name for a cat would be dolphin or penguin. But I think cat's a pretty good name for a cat. I have a little Siamese cat, and the cat is actually German. She was born in Germany, and she has a German passport. Yeah, she does. Because to travel around, she needs a passport, so she has a German passport. Yeah, she does. Next.
I'll make it.
What? The best question would be who? Who? Annika is my partner. We have been together for 8 years, 9 years, something like that. We have been engaged for 5 years, 6 years, something like that. So she's my partner. All right, moving on. Future.
Are planning to go to America?
To be honest, I really like the US, and maybe long term I would like to live in the US. I love San Francisco. I think San Francisco is one of the best cities on the planet. So I would be really, really interested perhaps living in the US long term. Maybe.
How many kids do you want to have?
How many kids do I want to have, or how many kids do I think I will have? How many? I don't know. Some days I wake up and I think, oh, kids, terrible. Other days I wake up and I think, kids would be kind of nice. I have a niece and I have a nephew. My niece is lovely. She's like 4 years old and she's really nice and she runs around and so on. My nephew's like 1, so he's really boring. Because all he does is cry and eat and goes to the toilet. That's pretty much it. That's all he does. So when they're really, really young, I kind of think, nah, don't like those. But when they get a little bit older and they can talk and they can do stuff, that's much more interesting. And then I'm kind of interested. So I don't know. I kind of think maybe I'd like, if I have kids, and it's a big if, maybe I'd like a couple of girls because I don't really like boys. Sorry, no. But boys tend to do really stupid things. Boys tend to do stupid things like making things on fire. And shouting very loudly, and learning to play the guitar and things like that, learning to play the electric guitar, which is all really stupid stuff. So perhaps girls would be nicer. I don't know.
Or maybe you don't know girls.
Maybe I don't. But the good thing is that if it's problems with girls, then my partner can deal with lots of it, and I get to do the good stuff. I don't have to do the bad stuff. But if it's boys, I have to do the bad stuff, whereas she gets to do the good stuff. So there you go. Right now, same for you. On a piece of paper, can you think about your past, your present, your future? Now, if you don't have a very long past, if you're very, very young, you can put more information about your present and your future. You can think about anything. You can think about, obviously we're talking about family. You can think about your family, you can think about places you've been or you want to go to. Think about anything, but things which are important to you. You can put dates, you can put dates. Right, now it's not magic, now it's just annoying. Right. You can put dates, you can put names, you can put places, people, things, animals, whatever you like. On a piece of paper, which you can give to someone else, can you make some notes about your past, your present, your future, please? Stuff that you are happy to explain. Not things that's going to make you cry and need therapy, but stuff that you're happy to explain. Okay? I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it and make some notes. Yeah, go on, for example. For example?
I learned that she went to Kiev for 2 days, and her parents didn't know about that. It's really interesting for me.
Okay, so when this video goes on the internet, your parents are going to know about this?
Yes.
Yeah, fine.
I like the idea.
Yeah, no, nice, very nice. Did you like Kiev?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nice place, isn't it? Yeah, it's a nice place. Cool. Okay, anything else interesting?
One of my friends is planning to open her own firm.
Ooh, doing what?
And also her modeling business.
Oh, a modelling business. Okay, cool. Nice, very nice. That's really interesting. What about over here? Anything interesting or exciting?
Ruslan wants to change her
Present
her
work.
present work
Mhm.
and to get a new work. And she was a dancer, and I knew that Grigor was swimming in Akbaba.
He's swimming.
We have been in China.
He's been to China?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Where in China?
In Beijing, in Shanghai, and also in Taiwan.
Oh, nice. Okay. And what's Shanghai like?
Shanghai, well, it's more like some European city, or
Really?
just very modern with skyscrapers and very like developed.
Okay, so it's a very modern city. Okay, that's interesting. Cool. I think I have a friend who lives in Shanghai. But yeah, cool, nice. So some really nice stuff. Just a couple of things I'd like to talk about from what I heard, just quickly. The first one, from the first class, there we go, it's the pressure of TV. From the first class, we know each other. Now, okay, the knowing, does it still continue or is it finished? It still continues. So what we want to say, first of all, is probably we want to say have known. Because when we use have known, that structure, we're saying in an unfinished time. This time is unfinished. So we can say, again, another thing. So we can say, we have known each other. Now, what about this here from the first class? Doesn't really go at the front. Doesn't really go at the front. In fact, all of this, it's done again, hasn't it? Right, go back, no, again, there we go, right, stay. So, this one here should really go where? Should go back, yes. So it should really go back here. And you can say, we've known each other from the first class. Or perhaps better, you could say, we've known each other for years. Yes, and that sounds a bit more natural. So we've known each other for years. Remember, generally your adverbs come at the back. So when we talk about word order in English, now, word order in English, how important is it?
Quite important.
It's not just quite important, it's extremely important. Yes. For example, I may have said this the other day, I can't remember. But if we take, for example, and then we can translate where if I can get the ball to work. So, which one's funny? Why is it funny?
First one.
Well, the first one's kind of normal, isn't it? Dogs bite men all the time. But it's funny because it's unusual. Men don't normally bite dogs. It's not something you generally see. Perhaps the man's been drinking, but it's not something you generally see. But of course, the words are exactly the same. But the change in order changes the meaning. Now, in some languages, word order is very, very flexible. In English, it's not. In English, word order is meaning. So if you have this word first, it means it's the subject. And if you have this word first, it means this is the subject. So English we generally refer to as, let's have a new page, we generally refer to as an SVO language. Meaning? Exactly. Let's not do that one, let's go for I saw him. So yes, we have, exactly. Subject, the person who does, and then that person does the verb to him. So we have SVO. And if we change that around, of course, if we say he saw me, the meaning is completely opposite. So we talk about English being an SVO language. And of course, you can change that in questions, but in statements you can't really change that because it changes meaning. Now then, you can put all of the adverbs at the back. And in terms of adverbs, or main adverbs for now, we can talk about M, P, and T.
Place, time, the last one.
Yeah, place and time. Alright, so we can say, you want to say the other one?
Mood.
No, not mood. No, mood is more with modal verbs. So might, could, may, will, for example. No, we'll come to that in a minute. Like I say, place. Let's do place. Where did I see him? Where did I see him?
In the pub.
In the pub or the park? Pub's more interesting. Let's say in the pub. Pub's much more interesting. So I saw him in the pub. Yep. What about time?
Yesterday.
Okay, yesterday.